Good morning and welcome to ARC 313's lesson number 2, watercoloring in quarantine. This is the Neil Watson method. You've heard the intro to Neil Watson, you've seen some of his images, you've received the sketch of the day now. So now we're just going to talk about and show some of his stylings in the watercolor realm. As I mentioned earlier, some of the things that are important to him are simplicity in color, so keeping it like a duotone or a monochromatic painting, or maximum maybe 3 colors, usually 2 colors with a gray to give you some value. Contrast is important, so in his mind, finding those elements that your eye are drawn to in the painting and doing that through heavy contrast. Composition is really important, and we're going to talk about that in a sec. He'll start out every painting by doing a series of compositional studies first, and then finding the view that he wants, and then proceeding with the larger painting. We'll do that this morning as well. And am I missing anything? Just the idea of vignette that we talked about. You don't have to show the whole 3-dimensional quality of the subject matter. You just focus in on an element that will allow us to see the universe in a grain of sand. So why don't you come over here and we'll get started. I've already, just in an effort to save some time, I've already started a couple of compositional studies, and I'll do a couple more here. But Neil Watson, coming from Britain, the Western Hemisphere, notes that we always read a book from the upper left-hand page going left to right and down through the painting or through the book page. So if we were in a different culture, we might go up and down, or in Arabic we would go from right to left, but in the Western Hemisphere we start up here. So that's how he kind of enters the painting. And so this first composition was looking at, if we start up here and get a lot of the color and then move our way down into the painting this way. On this one we were looking at, well, what happens if we do a more centrifugally focused painting? So, putting the center of attention right in the center of the composition and then branching down from there. What if we enter the painting lightly? So mostly the lightness works into the darks down here, and then all the contrast happens down at this lower level. These paintings don't have to be very accurate. They're just trying to get a sense of how we're going to proceed compositionally. What if we were to take this approach, but instead of having a lot more color up here, this part becomes a lot more white, and then we still kind of enter into the painting like this from the upper left-hand corner, but we bring most of the color in so the painting goes something like that. So in this case, we'll bring in a lot of this color, and then we'll grade it up to the upper right hand corner. Maybe even using a paper towel to get a little bit more of that whiteness up in here. And maybe a little bit of the whiteness can grade into this zone. And then start bringing that contrast to those elements through it here, with a little bit more of the darker feeling working its way down in. Notice how I'll also paint while other things are wet. The Neil Watson method, focuses on a lot of wet on wet technique as well. And I'm using the pencil as a brush and a brush as a pencil. So that's another compositional strategy. On this next one, maybe we're going to tuck up a lot of the focus down at the bottom of the painting. So the archway will be kind of pushed over to the lower left-hand corner, and the boat will sit in here, but more of a compressive feel, so that this upper part remains more open and clear. So, you know, like just dirty water, and then more of the color dropping down into the lower portion. Again, using the paper towel to focus some of that compression. And then when that settles up a little bit, I'll add a little bit more color in there. And what should we do for the last one? We've tried upper left-hand corner focused. We've tried centrifugal focus. We've tried lower right-hand corner. We've tried getting the whiteness from the upper left-hand corner, try to get the whiteness from the upper right-hand corner, or coming from the top. Why don't we have more of the whiteness down at the very bottom in this composition? And so we'll push everything up. So the boat is like in this zone. And this is also an opportunity to test out color. So I've got this yellowish tone here. These are a little bit more yellow ochre. This is kind of a reddish vermilion color. Why don't we try a background that's a little bit more brown in this case. So everything up here is going to be this kind of brown, and then down here is just going to be more open space. So you can see what we're doing here. We're just trying different colors, different compositional strategies, doing it in this kind of quick and really fresh style. Sometimes you'll find that you'll like these drawings better than the one you end up with, because they do have that kind of freshness going on. But don't worry about these so much. This doesn't have to be this exact drawing. This is more just to find your rudder, if you will, where you want to set up the painting and how you want to proceed from there. So I'm going to let those dry a little bit, and then we're going to come back to this, finish these off, and then we'll start on the actual painting. Based on what I'm seeing so far here, I think I kind of like this strategy the best. You know, a lot of whiteness up in the upper right-hand corner, and drawing the project, the sketch, the vignette through the painting in this kind of S-like fashion. But let's finish these out, and we'll see where we go from there. So I'll be back with you in a sec.